Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello and welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast. I'm your host, Richard Garry. Joining me in the studio, well, not quite the studio, we're still in our houses, is JA. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, buddy. Yeah, I don't know if the being in the studio thing will ever come back again. This is just so easy now.
It is easy, and just the additional scheduling around our lives that we didn't have when we first started this podcast, it certainly made it a little more difficult.
Children.
Yes.
And
Children.
you could also say more important jobs now. I think we've been doing this for this is our 8th season going to this year, including SEN. I hadn't even thought of having kids back when we started this podcast. So now there's 2. So it's amazing how life changes over the years. I'm certainly grayer than I was when we first started. You not so much. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But pretty boring week in the NFL, man. There's just not we'll talk Kyler Murray in a minute, but other than that, it's one of the most exciting off seasons that then just died. It's now there's no drama. Now the biggest thing is Lamar Jackson and Orlando Brown. Lamar Jackson's going to sign. Everyone knows. And is Orlando Brown going to turn up to training? Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Honestly, he's going to turn up because he wants to get paid.
As we talked about last week, the month leading into training camp after those OTAs, after the draft, there's nothing. It's when all NFL execs and things, they all take their holidays, go away with the family, all those sorts of things. So they say, hey, because from the 27th of July, which is when the first teams report, the teams who have to play in the Hall of Fame game, literally report in 2 days' time.
Yep.
That's it. It is full go until January. And then some of you get to keep going and half of you go home.
Yep, pretty much. Look, before we get into it, I'll quickly thank our sponsors. Thank you to our sponsor, Burnley Brewing, and thank you to our other sponsor, US Sports Gear. If you need any equipment for the upcoming gridiron seasons, head to ussportsgear.com.au. Everything you need is right there at your fingertips. Richie, should we get into Kyler Murray?
I think we should. I'll kick it off. I'm not surprised. This is a fine deal. I got no issues with this whatsoever. The organization re-signed their GM and head coach earlier in the year during the I can't call them the off-season meetings or whatever the hell they are. They announced that, and now they've re-signed Kyler Murray. This is a franchise that's had success here and there over the years. What they've not had is sustained success.
Yeah.
They tend to bob up here or bob up there. And they're looking for stability. I heard a number of podcasts since this was announced that talked about a lot of people talking about stability. And that's what they're looking for here. But on the flip side, what else are they going to do? Kyler Murray is arguably the best young quarterback they've had ever.
Easily.
Because you think about their last successful guys, there were people like Carson Palmer at the end of their career and Kurt Warner at the end of his career, things like that. That's not a sustainable way to run a franchise. You look at teams that have been good for extended periods. It's a young quarterback who ages. So, I got a problem with this. The number obviously looks massive. It's not fully guaranteed, which I think is interesting because after the Deshaun Watson deal, was the NFL going to head in an all-guaranteed type direction? They haven't. Now, a lot's guaranteed. There's plenty that's guaranteed. But at the end of this deal, he's going to be, 31? If he gets to the end, they can get out a year or two early without it being a monstrous hit. It's going to seem like a lot of money now, but by the time he reaches it, he's going to be like the 7th highest, maybe even 10th highest paid quarterback in the league by then, and it's going to feel like a bargain. So, it's like when we look at the number that, whether it's Rodgers or your boys' contract, things like that. When we look at those next couple of years, they're going to feel cheap because guys like the current crop of rookies that are all on rookie contracts, some of them are so good. Wait for their paydays. You reckon this is big? So,
and the cap's going to keep going up. We know it is. It's not going to stop at any point, or not for a while anyway.
It took a global pandemic for it to drop. and it dropped for 1 year. The following year, it was back above the pre-pandemic cap. So yeah, they've got new deals coming. The Sunday ticket, which for those who don't know, in America, if you want to watch every single game, because it's like Aussie rules here. If you live in Melbourne, not all your games are on free-to-air. Some are on Foxtel. So if you want to watch everything, you need KO or you need Foxtel. In the US, it's called Sunday Ticket.
Yep.
That has always been a direct TV product. It is going streaming in the next deal. What do you reckon Amazon or Prime, they are Amazon, or iTunes, or what do you think Apple's going to pay for this? Like, they're about to get an astronomical payday when these things start to go online and things like that. There's going to be so much money. Live sport is the biggest game in town for rights holders. It doesn't matter what sport it is, whether it's the World Cup in soccer later this year or whatever. That's where money is. Like, it's in live sport because that's what we watch. We watch it. We sit around and we watch it. So
everyone does. It's the best.
Yeah, it's because you generally don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know if you watched Friday night game last week with Richmond and Fremantle. I was screaming at my freaking TV, but it's the most interesting thing because you have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now you end up throwing a can through your fucking flat screen, but you don't know what's going to happen, and that's why we watch. So that's why it's a valuable property.
You've just won 3 premierships. Come on.
If you really want to get me upset, that stupid asshole Mason Cox plays one good game in his entire fucking career and cost Richmond a 4p. We should have won 4. We would have destroyed West Coast that year. They were crap.
I agree.
Now we're way off topic.
You got coxed.
I fucking hate that guy. If I met him in person, I think I'd have to tell him. I said, you fucking ruined a 4p. Do you know what you did to history? Asshole. Anyway. Kyler Murray. At the end of the day, I think this is really good. If you're a Cardinals fan, you got to be happy with this. He's improved every single year. All his metrics go up every year.
Because of injuries. He dropped off late last year. The injuries were bad.
Percentages didn't.
No, they didn't. He's been solid as a rock. He's everything you wanted him to be and more. When you gave up, when you gave up Josh Rosen, which everyone was like, oh, what are they doing here? It was the smartest move they ever made. Now, is every move they make smart? No, but you got to look at what they've done the last couple of years. What they did to get Hopkins, which was just fleece the Houston Texans. If you now lose Kyler Murray, none of it's worth it. It's the same with any of these guys. Prescott a couple of years ago, Josh Allen earlier this year, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson's going to be next. He's going to probably beat this record. They're all going to become they're too valuable to let go. Every player that's top of their position is going to keep getting paid more and more until, I don't know why players don't hold. If I was Lamar Jackson, I would hold out longer for this deal because the more you wait, the more money you get. And a lot of these, they're all extensions. They're not new deals. So you're still playing out your rookie contracts. But if I was them, I would be waiting as long as possible to sign these deals because with every year the money goes up. So it's insane. But well done to Kyler Murray. Cardinals, get it done. Keep your quarterback. He's the reason you guys were a playoff team last year. He's the reason you guys were a good team last year. Build around it. I don't know if they're going to be as good this year. We'll talk about them when we get to the previews in a few weeks. But I think they're in a tough division. But I think you have to keep him in that. You have to keep him in that team if you want to stay alive. And you watch how quickly someone in free agency would snap this guy up in a heartbeat for double the money.
This is a funny thing about quarterbacks. They never hit the proper free market. Like, you think they get paid a lot when they stay at their team? Imagine what they'd get paid if they hit the free market. Like, my God.
Look at what teams are giving up for quarter. Like, the fact we're blown away that 3 quarterbacks changed teams this year, and it was like the biggest thing ever because 3 top quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson, might have been 2, Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson changed teams. Oh, and then and Tom Brady a couple of years ago. Like, no one ever thought Tom Brady was going to be anywhere but New England. So people they're getting more. It's happening more, but none of them ever hit free agency. It just never happens. Like Drew Brees, because he was injured, but he wasn't the Drew Brees then when the Saints signed him. He wasn't. Like, no one knew what he was. So anyway, let's move on. Kyler Murray, well done. Let's get into our team preview for the week.
I can't remember how were we doing worst to first?
Yeah, worst to first.
Worst to first. Okay, so we look at the standings from last year. Jacksonville Jaguars, you were the worst. Houston Texans, The Indianapolis Colts, who were a supreme disappointment at the end of the year, and the Tennessee Titans took out the division. So we will be starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars. JA, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So look, I think you're looking at Jacksonville. Obviously, the big question mark and the big storyline for me going into this year, they were pretty tumultuous last year with Urban Meyer. We knew that he was carrying on a bit ever from when he, I remember when he had that incident at the pub or at the nightclub, whatever, when he stayed in wherever it was in Cincinnati when his team went back. Our first thing was before it even came out, I was like, what's the fucking head coach doing not going back with his team? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you're the leader of the team. You need to go back with your players. Simple as that. You don't just get to stay there for a couple of days and have a holiday. Like, it's the fucking NFL. So that obviously worked out terribly. They moved him on, all the stories, all that. Let's forget that ever happened. In comes Doug Peterson, who had terrific success at the Eagles, won a Super Bowl with Big Dick Nick. And he's got a pretty good crew, a pretty good young crew. Like Trevor Lawrence, yeah, last year, was he great? No, but they weren't great. They were an awful offense. They had awful players, not a lot of playmakers. They've certainly fixed that in some regards. Evan Engram coming over from the Giants, I think he's a, premier receiving tight end when healthy. The issue he has is he's not healthy enough and he's very inconsistent. I don't know if they can get consistency out of him, but if they do, he can be super productive for them as that kind of midline tight end, Darren Waller sort of guy. Not to that level, obviously, a bit of a poor man's Darren Waller. They bring in Christian Kirk. They overpaid the crap for this guy from Arizona. I don't think he's as good as his money, but again, you're overpaying for agency. He is a talented player that they've added to their roster, though. Simple as that. The one that went under the wire, I think, a little bit, or under the radar a little bit, was Brandon Scherf from the Washington.
Ah, man, I was going to say that. That's a great signing for them.
I'm not going to miss an offensive lineman. This guy has been, if it's not for Quentin Nelson and Zach Martin the last 5 or 6 years, this guy's the best guard. He just goes under the radar because his team's pretty crap, and he was hurt a couple of years, but his play has been as good. Maybe not as good, but maybe that level below Zach Martin and Quentin Nelson. So, in that level of Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller and those sorts of guys, like, he's been a very good guard. It's a great signing for them.
And while you're talking about line, they also franchise tag Cam Robinson and then got him onto a new deal. Yeah. So that offensive line looks a hell of a lot better than what it did last year. I think you had it right. The biggest issue was who was running the show.
Yeah.
No question whatsoever. It was an absolute shit show down there. I genuinely have no idea if they're actually any good because they're so poorly.
Travis Etienne back as well.
He missed the whole year. He was out with a foot injury.
Early. Like, this is a guy, like, he was a first-round pick for a reason. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't draft running backs in the first round. It was a dumb pick when they had James Robinson, who's also a very good running back and hopefully is used better this year. But that's a real good 1-2 punch now. You've got the athletic pass catcher, fast guy with the ground and pound, big inside running back in James Robinson. That's a good move. You've got Jawan Taylor, who went in the second round last year of the draft. I expect him to pick up his game again. Being next to Brandon Scherf's going to help him there too. That O-line should be improved. And it's as you said, it's all going to come down to Trevor Lawrence to me and how this offense works. Defensively, look, they're young. They're very young, but they've added 3 first-round picks to the defense in Walker, Lloyd, and who's the other first-round pick whose name's slipping my mind? Just the 2, sorry. Walker and Devin Lloyd in the first round this year. Walker was a number 1 pick for a reason. Look, we'll find out how he goes. I think he's going to be a solid player. I don't know a lot of college, so I'm interested. They've also got Josh Allen next to him on the other side, who I think's, again, another former first-round pick, very underrated edge rusher in the NFL. He's very good. Is he elite? Probably not, but he's very good. Shaquille Griffin, they got Herndon, who was a first-round pick last year that came on really well for them. They've got some good players. Like, I think they've got a chance to be okay. Now, all put together, we look at, you look at predicting success, Richie, and the big thing is you take all the questions and you see the really good teams have less questions. These guys have a ton of questions. And could they all be answered? Like, it was the same as the Bengals last year. If Lawrence is a superstar, now going to the Super Bowl is a long shot, but if Lawrence is a superstar and is a winner in what he was in college, they're every bit of a 10-win team. Every bit of it, because every team is when you've got a winner at quarterback. So, but there's a lot of questions around him. A lot of questions. Who's going to catch all the footballs? How much is Etienne going to be any good? Do they know how to use Gibson? Robinson? Is the defense going to be okay? Is Walker a bust? Is Lloyd going to be okay playing that hybrid safety linebacker role that they want him to play? Like, plenty of guys fail at that spot. Jabril Peppers is the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Like, there are guys, the tweeners don't always work out. So there's lots of questions, and we're going to need to see what the answers are. But there's too many questions for me to think that they're going to be good now. But I don't think I'm going to be that surprised if they are, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. The other thing I want to mention is Adam Gotsis. Obviously, we love seeing Australians get signed. He got re-signed this year in the offseason, signed a 1 year, I think about a $1.5 million deal. Coming off arguably his best season. Great to see that he's still in the NFL. He'll be a free agent again at the end of this year. But I think, is he going into year 6?
I think so.
This year?
It's huge.
6 years in the NFL for a position player. Like, we've obviously had punters, Australian punters who've done that, but as a position
interior
player,
D lineman too. Like, I don't think people understand how fucking hard it is to be an interior D lineman.
I'm
so many of them, and it's tough.
Yeah, like, I'm always stoked for Australians, but especially for someone like Adam, because you've played against him. I've been lucky enough to coach him. He's and
a really good guy. Really good.
He's always come on when we've asked. And I'm just Australian position players. That's how the sport grows in this country. So I'm absolutely stoked for him. For me, it's Trevor Lawrence.
That's it. It's the biggest question, and I think we'll know pretty fucking quick too. I reckon
all he needs. I firmly believe if he is a competent NFL quarterback, they'll win 8 games.
Yeah. What
happens from there? Who knows? Because
it's you know what it is. Every team's an 8-win team, Richie. It's just those 4 or 5.
Exactly. So nobody predicted Joe Burrow would be that good. No one had Cincinnati in the Super Bowl. No, I'm not saying the Jags are going there.
He wasn't that good. Like, he was good. He was a winner. He wasn't like, if you look at him as a whole picture last year, he was not even a top 5 quarterback. He was not. But he did enough in the big moments. As you said, every team's an 8-win team or a 9-win team now, 8.5-win team now. It's the 5 either way. It's those 5 close games either way that make you a 12-win team or a 5-win team. Yep. That's the difference. And the biggest thing that contributes to winning those games is a quarterback, because it comes down to a 2-minute drill. That's the facts.
Yeah. You know me. I want every quarterback to be good because it just makes football better. I really hope he's good. Like, I really do. Especially for Jags.
I'm rooting for the Jaguars. They had one good year. Like, I think we need them to be relevant. We need ebb and flow in the NFL, and there hasn't been enough of it the last few years. So the Bengals hopefully this is it again.
The other thing going for them, it's not the toughest division in the NFL.
No.
Like, it's really not. Now, I know we're saying that because they're in it. But still, there's some wins to be had in the division. So it'll be really interesting to see wins. Jay, what do you reckon?
If I had to predict now, 7.
Yeah, I was going to say 6.
A couple of games below 500.
Yeah, I don't think that's probably where they'll land.
The ceiling for them is 11, though. Ceiling's 11, but the floor's 2. Like, if Lawrence is crap, that team's going nowhere. I'm telling you, nowhere. There's not really any other options if he's no good. He's a bust. They're starting again.
He's going to have to win a few, because it's not like the D are going to have him in low-scoring games all the time. I think the D will be good, but
it'll be okay.
Well, yeah, so that's probably a better thing. They'll be okay. They're not out there winning your games. Yeah,
unless like Walker's an absolute genuine superstar, like a Nick Bosa sort of rookie year, Micah Parsons sort of rookie year, that sort of deal. But I don't know.
But even then,
it's hard to predict that.
Yeah, you can have a DN get you 15 sacks this year, and your defense is still ranked down the bottom. Like,
and that's the thing. Like, people,
that happens.
I make the mistake sometimes too. I say, the Dallas Cowboys defense was good last year because of Micah Parsons. He was a big reason it was good. But like Trayvon Diggs, 11 picks, and Kearse becoming
and a million touchdowns he gave up.
And Hooker. Hey, don't you start on him, right? Turn over.
His feast or famine. It's not king if you're giving him up constantly.
But that's the thing. It's not just Micah Parsons wasn't he was a big thing. Like Tank Lawrence getting his form back. That was the big reason they were a good defense.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it.
everything's got to come around it. So should we talk some Texans?
Let's talk some Texans. Obviously, the biggest, I guess, I was going to say cancer. We should stop saying that. That's probably a pretty uncouth thing to say. Deshaun Watson's gone. He's in the rearview mirror. This is a very good thing for them. But they hired Lovie Smith in what felt like a Rooney Rule cherry on top at the end, where I don't think he was who they really wanted, because let's face it, Lovie Smith's last success in the NFL was a long, long time ago. I think it's a bad hire.
I do. It's a 1 or 2 year thing.
It feels like this isn't who they wanted. It's who they were forced to take. I'm not saying Lovie is a bad coach. I just think the game has passed him by. I genuinely believe that. The college stuff he went and did, he was no good at. I don't like his hire.
DC. Like he's a great DC, but I just don't think he's a good head coach anymore. And I'm happy to be surprised, but I don't think he will be.
Yeah, and look, I'm glad there's another. I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm saying. I want to see more black head coaches and positional coaches and all those sorts of things, but I feel this is really disingenuous with the timing and the law case and everything that all happened at once.
Yeah.
I don't like it, and I don't like him as a head coach.
He is fucking awful.
So that's what I was going to. That's what I was going to come to next. I think if it wasn't for Atlanta, this would be one of the worst rosters in the NFL.
Like they've got Stingley, which they took in the first round, pick 3. Like, let's see how he goes. My track record on early corners, other than Jalen Ramsey, they all struggle. So I hope not. I hope he's good. But Laramie Tunsil's their premier offensive lineman, who's dropped off. He has dropped off. There's no way. There's no two ways about it. Can he get that form back to being a great left tackle again? Yeah, he's young still, but they gave up 2 first-round picks for him to protect their franchise quarterback, who's now not here because he's a knucklehead and they had to move him on. They've had no quality players through the door. Like, their starting running back right now is fucking Rex Burkhead. Like, It's not 2008 in New England. Like, it's not going to be a good thing. They've got Brandon Cooks at receiver, who's one of the most tumultuous producers in the world. The guy just produces every year but doesn't do anything.
That's what I was going to say. He's the only shining light. And I'm sorry, it's not 5 years ago.
Exactly. I'm not confident. The offensive line's bad. Richie, their best defensive lineman is going to be Jerry Hughes. Like, he a frog, but he's...
Don't get me wrong. I love the guy, but his best years are behind him. They're back in Buffalo.
In 2010. That's when he got drafted. Like, he is not a young guy. So, no. I don't know. I'm very confident in saying the Texans are not going to be a good team this year. I also think they do need to have another down year. I think the thing is they need to, if you're a Texans fan or you want to know, the goals for the Texans need to be, can we develop some guys? Can we, can Tunsil be good again? Can Titus Howard, the right tackle going into his second year or third year first round pick, can he be good? Is Davis Mills someone we want to build around? Like, okay, is Davis Mills a guy that we can build a really good team around and he can make it happen for us? Or is he a backup and we need to find another option? That's what they're going to look at, because other than that, they have almost zero noticeable players in their starting lineup. Like, I mean zero. They didn't have a first round pick this year. They've just got nothing.
Who starts for them week 1 at quarterback?
Davis Mills.
You reckon?
This year, or who do you want to be, Kyle Allen or Jeff Driscoll?
This is what I'm saying, though.
Kevin Hogan? Is that guy still in the NFL? Didn't he used to play wide receiver?
Is he really? No, that's a different Hogan.
I know.
That's a good joke, though.
I'm just going up to my chair about Kevin Hogan. This is what I mean. Like, they've still got Philip Dorsett on their roster. I don't know. I'm just looking at their actual roster now and I'm trying to find shining lights, and the only one I can find, like, they have so many. They got Marlon Mack from Indianapolis. Like, hasn't been the same dude since he tore his knee out.
He gets so injured.
Yeah, like he's not going to.
Didn't they take it? Didn't they take it back? Didn't they take it back like in the 4th round or something? What was that guy's name? Aguamboali
or Damon Pierce.
Damon Pierce. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, never heard of her. Looking at tight ends, nothing in the tight end department. Pharaoh Brown, I think they brought over from Arizona. Their offensive line.
They signed Jordan.
It's one of the worst offensive Giants. It's the worst offensive line in football. Just it's woeful. There's no talent there other than Tunsil.
Their most talented player is their punter. You see who it is?
No. Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson. That's an Aussie.
Yeah, an Aussie. But honestly, I'm going through their roster. I'm trying to find a name to get excited about. Like, I'm almost going to get excited about Malik Collins, like just because he's an ex-Cowboy. I don't know. There's not a lot going on there. I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on these guys. I don't see them being good. I see if Lovey survives this season, I'll be surprised. And I certainly don't think he'll get through the next because he is a stopgap coach. And sorry, Lovey, I'm sure you're a terrific coach. I'm sure you're a great person, but I'm going to look at what the facts they're giving us. They've just come off a one and done coach. They didn't get the guy they wanted in the offseason. We all know they didn't. Everyone who doesn't have the guy they want are treading water, hoping for Sean Payton. Now, keep in mind, Sean Payton is a Texas native. Now, everyone's saying, oh, Dallas Cowboys. Hey, how do you know the Texans can't lure him in with the first overall pick and a new quarterback and go, come on, let's start it again back home? Doesn't have to be Dallas. He's just from there. So he might want to go there. So that's all I'm saying. Everyone's treading water. I think these guys are doing the same. They are one and done or, two and done coaching at best, and then they'll start rebuilding. They are in a full rebuild for the next 2 seasons.
Yeah. Wins?
3.
High ceiling?
7.
Oh, I was going to say 5. You're generous. I don't know what
their
over under is.
Like, what if Davis Mills is really good? He might scrap him for 7 wins. And Brandon Cooks has a big year,
Biggest thing is if you like to dabble in long investment bets, look up what their over under is. If it's less than 5, if it's 5 less, probably 4 if I had to guess. I can't look it up because I'm using my work computer and betting sites are banned. If I had to guess, it'll be around the 4.5 mark. I'd just smash the under. I think they're going to be god awful.
I couldn't agree more.
Enough of them. Let's talk about someone with a bit more hope. The Indianapolis Colts, their biggest move, bringing over Matt Ryan after the Wentz experience exploded in their face on a Sunday afternoon in Jacksonville.
It was like an awful bukkake, that loss. Just exploded in their face. It was terrible. You don't lose. It's a great joke. If you want to go to the playoffs and have to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars and you can't, you don't deserve to go to the playoffs. And I think that was what Jim Irsay said about Carson Wentz. He said, if you can't go in and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars to make the playoffs, you can't play on my team.
The rumor is he rang the GM the moment that game was over and said, I'm not going to swear because apparently what he said is the rudest word you can say, but get that off my team.
Yeah. I've heard this. And I believe it. Jim Irsay is a genuine psycho too.
He's crazy.
Like real crazy though. Not like,
alcoholic, drug guy. He's mental. Yeah,
I'd love to have a party with him. Just one night though. Like I couldn't. Like maybe just one afternoon would be enough. I don't think I could.
Yeah, I don't want to have to back up.
No, but like I said, let's just the offense. I think they have a great offense. I really like Pittman Jr. He came on super strong last year with an awful quarterback. They have Jonathan Taylor, who's I think is going to take the reins of the best running back in the league this year over Derrick Henry. He was a superstar for them last year. They've got a great offensive line. Paris Campbell's a great, slot receiver along with Pittman. Everyone goes, they don't have a superstar. You don't need a superstar in the NFL anymore. You need facilitators. They're going to get Hines back involved in the backfield. The offense, to me, wrap it in a little bow and bring in, I don't know if this is unfair, but the greatest game manager in the history of the NFL is Matt Ryan, who literally won an MVP facilitating to guys like Julio Jones, Roddy White, Calvin Ridley. He's made a career of just being a really, really good, solid quarterback that doesn't make stupid mistakes and does his job every time. I think he's a perfect fit for this team. He doesn't expect anything. He doesn't care about himself. He's there for the team. He's a professional. He's gonna be the adult in the room, which is I think what they needed last year. He's experienced. He still has arm talent. Honestly, we were excited about Phillip Rivers 2 years ago. This is like an upgrade of Phillip Rivers. He's a better version of Phillip Rivers right now.
Because there's something that still hasn't changed. That O-line is still really good.
Dominant.
It's really good.
Like, I could even argue it got better this year. Like, I think it got better. So, look, I'm all in on the Colts. I think they're a playoff team. I haven't even got to the defense yet. Buckner's one of the best D tackles in the league. Kwity Paye was a terrific rookie last year and turned out to be a really good draft as an edge rusher in like the late first round. I think they got him 21. They also brought in Yannick Ngakoue. Look, this guy's the genuine description of a mercenary. He just jumps from teams to teams. But if you want a dude who's going to come in and get you 10 sacks, he's the guy.
That's him.
Because he does it every single year. You're like, how do we get pressure? Where's Yannick Ngakoue right now? That team's probably had enough. Just get him over here. Yeah, get him over. We need 10 sacks this year from somewhere. He's like the money ball of NFL defensive ends. It's like, who do you bring in to replace these sacks? He's just coming in. And I haven't even got to the fact that Darius Leonard.
Gilmore? Oh, I thought you were going to go with Stephon Gilmore.
Oh, Stephon Gilmore, again, terrific signing. Now, is he a bit older? Yes, but he's an upgrade on everything they had last year, and he still played well last year. Like, the dude still played well. He's not that old. I think he's got another couple of good years in him. Definitely. And the one sleeping on Darius Leonard is in the definitely top three off-ball linebackers in the NFL, and in the elite category, he's a game changer. He was hurt a lot last year, and they were still a top defense. I think this team's going to be a playoff team. I'm certain on it. I think they might even win this division, but we'll do it at the end. Mm-hmm. But I'm really high on the Colts. I was high on them last year when they had Carson Wentz, and fool me, of all the people to get fooled by Carson Wentz, he got me fucking good. I was actually excited for him. I thought it was just Philly I hated him at, but turns out no, he's just not that good. So excited. I'm actually excited for the Colts, a team I'm very interested to watch.
I'm certainly high on them as well.
Excited for Matt Ryan.
I really am. I actually think
he needs it, and they did the right thing by him. They traded him.
Yes, that's what I was going to say too.
It was a really nice ending.
Yeah, Atlanta did him so right. I'm not going to rag on the organization. I know I joke a lot that they're losers and all the rest of it, but they have a very good owner who's not afraid to put in money and all those sorts of things, and they did him right. They traded him to somewhere where, with his skill set at this time in his career, he has the best chance to succeed. I don't think there's anywhere else he could have gone in the NFL where he could have had the same success that he's going to have here. As I said earlier, he's got an exceptional O-line in front of him. He's got a really good running back behind him. I'm with you. I really like Pittman. I think he could be great. So, there's a huge. I've got their ceiling at like 14 wins.
Agreed. In a 17 games, I can see them only losing three or four games.
Yeah,
honestly.
And the floor's 8. Quite frankly, I don't see how this team can't win 8 games. I really can't. They're going to have. I can get them 4 wins in division. Now I've only got to find them another 4, and I haven't dug deep into the schedules. I'll do that when I predict, how all the games are going to wash out, and how the whole season's sort of going to play out. But this is a good team with a really smart, knowledgeable, with enough talent left guy under center.
Yeah,
unlike last year.
I genuinely think people need to understand how fucking good Jonathan Taylor was last year.
He was awesome.
There were games where teams were like, all right, they're going to try and run this game out. It was like old school, like, they're going to try and run this out, and they just couldn't stop him. No matter what, and the O-line obviously is a big part of it, but they just couldn't stop it no matter what. It's like we knew they were doing it, and we still couldn't stop it. It's going to be really fun to watch this team. All right, let's get to the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, this is one I don't know. There's more questions for the Tennessee Titans there are for the Colts right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. The biggest question for me is Tannehill and Henry. Henry also got hurt last year after, I don't know how many touches he had the previous 3, 1 million.
4 million.
Like a lot.
Unbelievable. He has to drop off.
It has to. He has to. And look, he did last year when he got hurt.
He was awful in the playoffs. Everything's telling me that Henry has to drop off. There is no history in the history of the NFL that tells us this is going to continue. There's just nothing. If it does, he's the ultimate outlier. But if they were smart, they would spare him early. They would genuinely share carries with him early, no matter what, because you need him down, or rest him for 4 games in the middle of the year. Like, you have to do something to limit his carries. When he plays, he's too valuable. I get it. But like, to limit his carries, Richie, you know what you need to do. You need to throw the ball more. Now,
the problem is
you need elite quarterback.
They traded AJ Brown, so
Burks.
he's not there anymore.
They traded AJ Brown for AJ Brown's rookie replacement that you don't know if he's going to be AJ Brown, instead of just paying AJ Brown that you know is AJ Brown. I'm sorry, if you got a good player, you just fucking pay him. You don't get rid of him. As I said, I brought up Moneyball twice tonight. It's like a Moneyball move. It's like, let's get rid of this guy, but you know what? This guy in the draft, he's the same guy. How do you know?
You don't.
The receivers go in the top 5. Like, look at Sammy Watkins. Everyone thought he was going to be the best player in the history, best receiver in the history of the NFL. It's like the next Jerry Rice. He was shit house.
Okay. No, that's unfair. But he was just a dude.
He's just a dude.
And when he went to Kansas City, we thought, oh, that'll be the solution. Nah, he's still just a dude. He's just a dude.
We've been waiting for him for 10 years, and he's still 25.
That's what I mean. That's a good joke. He guys like that are just dudes. AJ Brown, he's a fucking good player. Like, what are you doing? I just can't understand it. And then you bring in someone like a Robert Woods, who's just injured all the time. Like, I like him, and I hope he turns his career around, but he's hurt all the time. I like them signing Austin Hoover. I actually think he's a really underrated tight end, but there's the thing I like about it is he can block. Like, he's a proper tight end.
Yes, he is. I don't mind him.
I just they have not improved that team. That team has got worse.
The last 2 years, they let Corey Davis walk after his best year in the NFL. He's gone to the Jets. He was hurt last year, but I still think he's solid. So you let him walk, and I'm thinking, all right, you let him walk. You've got AJ Brown. You're going to bring him back. Like, imagine what you would think of this offense if they had AJ Brown and Woods. You'd feel completely different all of a sudden, wouldn't you? It wouldn't be, Burks done. Now, if Burks ends up being a great receiver, like if he ends up being better than AJ Brown, then they're probably in a good spot.
But he could be great being the third guy.
Exactly. And the issues that they've got right now is it all wraps up to Ryan Tannehill, who has had a lot of troubles. And said, we've actually been big defenders of Tannehill because we didn't like him at Miami. And we actually had to eat some humble pie when he moved. Because
big time.
We used to have a guy that came on the show named Jared, who was a really good dude, used to write articles, and he was a massive fan of Tannehill. And he told us it's the Dolphins' fault. It's the Dolphins' fault. It turns out it probably was a little bit the Dolphins' fault, but it's also a bit his fault, and it's now coming. Like, it's pretty easy to play quarterback when you've got Derrick Henry running for 2,000 yards every year. Yeah. If that drops off, and in the games that he has struggled, like the games where he runs for 250 yards and 4 touchdowns, no one gives a shit what Ryan Tannehill does in those games. Yeah. It's the games where they go, all right, we're going to stop Derrick Henry. Tannehill win the game, and there hasn't been enough. Does that make him a bad player? No. It just makes him what we talked about earlier. Everyone's an 8-win team, and you need that quarterback to win you those extra 4 or 5. I don't think he's got those 4 or 5 in him, and I don't think they've won one. They haven't won a playoff game, or they've won one playoff game in 3 years. Like, they just don't win enough, and it's because Derrick Henry's banged up. Now, they beat New England a couple of years ago, which was great, but I don't know. All in all, I'm not loving them. I don't mind their defense. I think Kevin Byard's one of the best safeties in the NFL. I think Simmons is going to step up again this year at D tackle. I like Bud Dupree. I like Landry as edge rushers. But in saying that, they were one of the worst pass rushing defenses last year. So I like them individually, but as a whole, they're not a great pass rusher. And then, the key signs for poor defenses are bad at pass rushing. that's one of the keys. Bad pass rushing. So I don't know.
I think the easiest way to describe this team is they've been over the mountain and they're coming down the other side. I think best is now behind them. Now, if everything went right, could they be a 14-win team? Yeah, they could be. But I genuinely believe their high watermark is more like 11. And the low could be as low as 5.
Yeah,
it really good. Now, there's some easy wins in their division. So people look, don't get me wrong, I don't dislike them, but if let's just talk about Henry gets hurt again or is nicked up or whatever.
Yeah.
Tannehill, who gets paid a ton this year, is kind of what he was last year. The receivers don't come on. That offensive cupboard, it could be a bit bare.
there's not a ton of depth in it. And that's what happens with good teams. You stay at the top for a few years, and then the money, you can't pay everyone. And before you know it, your depth is all gone. All the guys that were your depth guys are now your starters. And yeah, they in the end, like, keep in mind, this is a team that got 8 sacks in a playoff game and lost. Like, you could argue if they beat the Bengals in that game, they could have been in the Super Bowl too. Like, they were a good team.
And look, I'm sure any Titans fan listening to this is yelling that at us. Like, I'm sure they are. But it's our podcast, so we get to say what we think.
Make your own, like every other dickhead Australian. Do it for 3 weeks and then stop. But when you've done it for 8 years, you can tell us. All right, let's move on. Before
you do you want to give an early rundown how you think this is going to wash out?
I think Colts are going to win it. I think the Titans will be second. The Jags third, but competitive this year, potentially to be better than that. And then the Texans will be bottom. I'm the only thing I am there's 2 things I'm confident on. The Colts are going to be a playoff team, and the Texans are certainly not going to be. They'll be a top 5 pick.
Yeah. Right now I'm inclined to agree. I do see a world where Tennessee can win the division again. There's 2 things in the NFL I'm absolutely sure of next year, and that's Atlanta and the Texans are going to be garbage.
Couldn't agree more.
They could easily go last. They're one of those ones you just look at them and like the wheels are already off. There's just not enough talent on those teams. Like, it's nothing personal. You just, whilst we say they got 53 NFL players. Yeah, they do. But they're the worst 53 going around. So it makes it tough. They would blow the doors off any other team anywhere else in the world, but not in the NFL. So, I can certainly see a world where Tennessee can win the division, and I got to dig into both these teams' schedules because, you can usually find a win or 2 for them.
Yeah, when we do our full prediction show, I'll certainly go through and look at it. And the schedule might, but said they finished top last year, so they're going to play all the other top teams in the interdivisions.
There's only 2 of those now,
Yeah, still, but that might be 2 losses, and 2 losses is
100%.
huge. Like, I remember when we were doing that prediction thing last year using that website, you'd go back and do it again, and you'd change one result in the season, and 3 different teams make the playoffs because you change one result. Like, the NFL is tight. The difference between being the number 1 seed and the 6th seed is, like, you ask anyone in the NFC West last year, it's not much. Like, the Cardinals were a last-second touchdown from Matt Stafford from finishing on top of the NFC West. Instead, they lose in the playoffs because they're playing away, and then the Rams go on to win it. Like, it could have been the other way around. It's that simple. So
and let's not forget, Stafford had to do that against the Bucs too to get out of the division game. Like,
100%.
It's tight. The NFL is tight.
Cooper Cup miracle to do it. Like, it could have been the Bucs in the Super Bowl. And people forget, the Bucs weren't as good last year. It's like, they were 10 seconds and Cooper Cup away from beating them to get into the Super Bowl. Like, it was an insane game.
And you could easily have said they would have beaten Cincinnati.
The Cowboys were a minute away from beating the 49ers. Or the 49ers were a minute away from beating the Rams. Like, people forget the 49ers have been into a Super Bowl and 2 NFC championship games in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, people forget that about them. Like, it's a fine line. And they haven't won a Super Bowl, so everyone thinks, it hasn't been successful. Is Shanahan in trouble? No, Shanahan's not. His teams are always good. Like, he's one of the most safest coaches in the NFL. So it's wild. Let's go on to we were doing 2 divisions this week, guys. So let's go on to the NFC North, and I'm not sure if you looked at it, Richie, but can you by memory know who finished in the bottom of the NFC North?
I presume it's the Lions.
Correct.
Hang on, I'll do it off memory. I haven't brought it up. I presume it went Lions were worse, then the Bears, then the Vikings, then the Packers.
Correct. And do you know what's shocking to me? The Bears won 6 games last year. That is the most shocking of all.
Yeah, I thought they were worse than that.
Yeah, it's scary. Let's start in Detroit. This is one I am so unsure about. I don't know. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I think they might be good.
No, you're like me. No. You and I hang out. You and I hang out too much. You want them to be good because I want them to be good because we think it'll be funny. We think it'll be a fun ride to go on in 2022.
Oh, it definitely would.
I actually don't think they're that good.
Can I sell you some evidence to why I think they could be good? So I've been doing a lot of work at them.
You give me your best ABC.
They have potentially the best defensive line in football. But on ranking from PFF, they're the number one in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is PFF always accurate? No. But they've got Penei Sewell, who is a gun. Taylor Decker at the other tackle, who's an ex-Pro Bowler from Cleveland. Jonah Jackson, who's a great young guard. A great young guard that's gone under the radar. Like, very similar to who we were talking about Scherf before. Like, he's kind of the next Scherf, the guy that is really good, but no one knows. They've got Halapati Vaitai, who is an ex-tackle that's moving to guard, who is a monster. Like, is he the best guard in the league? No, but he's huge. He can run. And they've got Frank Ragnow, who's arguably the best center in football the last couple of years. TJ Hawkinson is a gun tight end. Blocking, receiving, can do it all. He's versatile. They get Jameson Williams with the 12th pick out of Alabama, can run, take the top off. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, was the best rookie wide receiver down the stretch last year. Wasn't the best overall. Chase was, but Amon-Ra was outstanding down the stretch. DJ Chark has got a bit left in him, I think. He's been injured the last couple of years, coming back from a bad injury. And then DeAndre Swift, I could argue, is one of the most versatile running backs in the NFL if he stays healthy. So if you get 17 games out of him behind that offensive line with that skill position, I know Goff isn't amazing. But he threw for almost 5,000 yards with a very talented offense.
Everybody does. Everyone throws. If you play 16 games, 17 games, everyone throws 5,000.
So what's the difference, right, with those skill? The Rams, when he was at the Rams, and maybe it's the coach, but why can't he be successful with that lineup around him?
I'm not saying he can't. What I'm saying is he probably can't win the shootouts he's going to be required to win because that defense is not very good. Going into year 2 under Dan Campbell, that defense has got to get better. They get no pressure. They were like 30th in the league.
I agree.
Getting pressure on the quarterback or sacked. I can't remember what the stat was. I saw it in the offseason reading through this stuff.
Yeah. No, I agree. They were a bad pass rushing
team. Really consistent. Like, they went streaks without sacks, like games without them. It's just so inconsistent. Like, a player would have a good game and then he wouldn't have a good game. Can Aiden Hutchinson, can he be a hometown hero? I
think he can.
He'll have to be, quite frankly.
Why can't he be Nick Bosa?
I'm not saying he can't. Well, because Nick Bosa is really fucking good, mate. That's why.
Nick Bosa was the same thing. He was a second overall pick in the draft and came in and dominated. Like, there's nothing telling me that he can't be a superstar. They also get Jeff Okudah back, who's missed literally 2 years from injury through no fault.
So what are you going to get? Yeah, but what are you going to get there? 2 years out of football with injuries, not just sitting on his couch.
But what if he is the star he was in college?
And what if you didn't have balls, mate? Like, I'm telling you, you're like me. You want this to happen. We want them to be good. And
There's just trying evidence that they'll be good. In saying that, they'll win 5 games.
Yeah, I just don't want to be the yes podcast. I'm just trying to throw something else out there that I think it would be amazing for Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, nobody gives a fuck more than Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell has so many fucks. He just hands them out. He's got so many to give.
I know.
And at first we thought it was a terrible signing. Maybe it will be, but
I think it would be fun.
I want it.
Imagine if they start winning. Remember when he got all the hyped up he got when they won their first game? Like, imagine if they win like 5 on the trot to start the season or something. Just the pressure.
I would love them.
Yeah.
To go into Lambeau and just kick Aaron Rodgers' ass. It would
Who's
be
better?
Awesome.
Them or the Jaguars? Who do you think is more talented? Them or the Jaguars? I think if you went position by position, the Detroit Lions
I think the Detroit Lions would have...
Other than quarterback. They don't have the upside of...
That's what I was going to say.
If they had Trevor Lawrence, you'd be like, if Trevor Lawrence is good, this team could be a Super Bowl team. But
no, I wouldn't say that. Because it's the Lions. It's the history. Like, they just don't win there. But look, I want it. I'm with you. I want it to. The high water mark is 9. Yeah, cool. But the low,
fucking Goff.
probably 4.
Goff's gonna kill me here. I can tell it. Goff's gonna be shit house.
Probably. I don't think he'll be shit house. He's going to throw for a zillion yards, but as I said, everybody does.
Yeah.
I think
What if
has to
David
be a
Bale
winner.
starts?
I don't think they'll be very good.
Tim Boyle season. He's going to take over. What if they trade? Actually, I got a really good one for you. What if they traded for Garoppolo?
Yeah, I'm really interested now. And send Goff back. He knows that system.
So,
if you, I don't know about Garoppolo's shoulder, but would you do if you're the 49ers, because you got no first round picks? If I give you my first round pick this year, first round pick 2023, second in 2024, I'll throw Goff in and a token something else. No more picks though. You can have a 1 next year.
I don't think
2 year after.
I don't think you have to give him that for Jimmy Garoppolo. Baker Mayfield just got a conditional 5th round pick.
But they burnt him. Nobody was going to give anything for that. Garoppolo's a different animal.
Everyone knows that they have to cut Garoppolo. He's got no cap. They can cut him.
They don't have to. They can fit him. They can fit him in this year.
Pay him $25 million until someone gets injured.
They're under the cap.
I think if they came to you for Jimmy Garoppolo for a 2nd round pick, you take it.
Nah, someone's going to come along who's desperate. There'll be an injured quarterback in the preseason, and
not
that team will be desperate.
Like the Sam Bradford Vikings, where they lost Teddy Bridgewater, and they're like, "What are we going to do? Well, let's give a 1st round pick for Sam Bradford." Yep. But bottom line is, if they go to the 49ers and go, "We'll give you a 1st round pick," done.
And Goff.
They would take it, and Goff. They take it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think they would too, because they have to replace
Goff either. They probably got to keep Goff and then trade him somewhere else.
They have to replace all the draft picks they gave to get the lunch tray.
Yeah, which is that's going to be.
I don't know about that one. I'm kind of looking forward to that. All right, we've done way too many hypotheticals on the Lions. Lions fans, we're hoping for you. We're here for you.
I want them to be good. They're going to be good.
The Chicago Bears.
This can be quick, unless Fields is the next coming of Jesus. They are not going to be any good.
Yeah, you don't think Trevor Siemian can beat him out?
No, I don't. I think this is the worst offensive line in football, bar none. Actually, no, I said that about someone else earlier. It's one of the worst in football, though. It's dreadful. Fields is a great athlete. He's going to make some plays. Defensively, they have got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Like, just don't even sell me on Quinn. Like, they're the idiots that gave him the long-term deal. He gives you one good year, which he did last year, and then he drops off. Like, it's just what he does. And he's like 33 now. I'm sorry, he's not going to be good. This team, the only player I like on this team, which is a real sign of why PFF gets a lot of shit, is Roquan Smith, who I think is one of the best linebackers in football, who has a almighty rating of 47.1 on Pro Football Focus, which I don't understand. If you can explain it to me, I don't understand. But anyway,
what do they penalize or push up that he's not getting?
Being too good, maybe? I don't know. His run defense grade is 3. So at 3 out of 10.
What? Oh, out of 10.
Is 5 out of 10. And his coverage grade is 68 out of 10 or 6.8 out of 10, which is 13th in the NFL. But his pass rush and his run defense is like 80th. But his run defense is great. I guess they play a lot of like linebackers. If you want to have like a good run defense, it starts with your defensive line. And then if you have an athletic linebacker that can shoot and tackle, it starts with basically going, if you've got a defensive line that just gets single blocked every play or get driven by double teams, if you've got a defensive tackle that can just get single blocked and then the offensive lineman can just fly straight up to the linebacker, have fucking fun being a linebacker. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. Like at that level, it's impossible. The linemen are too big and too good and too fast to just, if they're just flying upfield and taking you out, have fun being a good run defense.
Or pushing the D-line into you.
Or pushing them into you. Like the big signing from this team was fucking Equanimous St. Brown from the Packers this year. Like, yeah, wow, you stole one from the Packers. Mind you, the Packers, God, they've given up a lot of players. Like their shining light is Darnell Mooney, who everyone raves about, who I don't reckon was that good last year. He was okay. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be good at all. This would be the most shocking team to be good. No other team in the NFL would shock me more, other than the Texans maybe. But these guys are similar to the Texans and Atlanta. They are a top 5 pick waiting to happen. So,
yeah,
Justin Fields a superstar, and I mean genuine fucking Michael Vick superstar, like that sort of dude.
Yeah, look, he's got a cannon. And he can be dynamic with his legs as well. But he's coming off a pretty rocky rookie campaign. He had injuries, inconsistency.
I don't reckon it was his fault.
Who, all honesty, that's what I was about to say. That coaching staff did not know what to do with him. They really had no idea.
Nagy was shit out. That's why he got fired. He should have been fired the year before.
Yeah. All I can hope is that this often happens with rookies where they're just like, let's just run some stuff from their college system that they know and they're good at. The biggest problem with that stuff is it's just not sophisticated enough to last long term in the NFL. So you need to sprinkle some of that in along with whatever offense they're bringing to the table.
Who did they even draft in the first? Did they not have a draft pick last year in the first round?
I would have to look it up. I can't remember that stuff off the top of my head.
The fact that I don't even know who they are, like they should have had a top 10 pick with their record.
Yeah, but it'll be like it feels. I know we say this all the time, especially with young quarterbacks. Fields might be awesome, and if he is, they can be successful. If he's not, or he has a similar campaign to last year, sorry Bears fans, I think you might be last in the division.
I am certain they are last. Like I said, no, they didn't have a first round pick because they traded up one to get fucking Fields.
Oh, from the year before, of course.
They traded up to get him a pick, so but no first round pick. Which look, I don't mind. I don't mind teams trading a couple of years to get a quarterback. You have to. Like,
it's the only way to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Let's move on from them. I think their ceilings 5 wins. If they win more than 5 games, I'd be pretty shocked.
I think that's harsh. I think their ceiling can be 8, but the floor could be like 2.
1. Yeah.
Oh, geez. I'd be shocked if they only won 1.
I just said most teams' ceiling are going to be 7 or 8, aren't they? So.
Yeah.
Let's move on to
Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings went 8-9 last year, fired their coach. Who is their coach now? I can't remember. It's an offensive guy. I know that.
You know what? I'm not even going to pretend I know. I'm going to look it up.
But yeah, I've forgotten. Oh, Kevin O'Connell. I think he once poured a coffee for Sean McVay. So they were like, 37 years old.
Can I be honest? I'm looking at a picture of him. I swear he looks like the starting senior for a high school. Like, is that an old photo I'm looking at?
Oh, he's wearing it. Looks like he's wearing a Jets outfit. And he played for the Jets back in the day in 2011. This is the thing. He played in 2011.
10 years ago.
Oh my God, I was fucking right too. I knew I was right. O'Connell was hired, but he was their offensive coordinator for O'Connell. So he was a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator, mind you. Let's not be too harsh on him. Look.
Man, he's 37.
They're all young now, Richie. 37's the new 50. No one wants the old Pete Carroll anymore.
Well, is he younger than his quarterback? Serious question. Serious question.
Nah, he's not. Kirk Cousins only about 34. They're probably the same age. Kirk Cousins was drafted in 2012. Oh, he's 33. Or 34 when the season starts.
Oh, it's close. He's really close.
Kirk Cousins is the same age as me. Same year. Bicentennial boy. What do you think of Minnesota?
Well, I had them in the playoffs last year, and they lost a lot of close games, and they also shot themselves in the foot a bunch of times. They should have made the playoffs if they were competent at decision-making, and they got fired because of it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the talent is still in the building. I think this can be a good team. Like, I'm not huge on Kirk Cousins, but he's not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. So, I didn't think they lost too much. Like, with the worst guy they lost, maybe Sheldon Richardson and Anthony Barr. But, like,
Anthony Barr hasn't been good for a couple of years. Like, Look defensively.
Well, they brought in Zadarius Smith to basically replace him.
Yeah, who's older now? Like they also got Daniil Hunter, who I think's a really good edge defender that's come off a injury riddled year last year. I like Hicks. He's a good stopgap at linebacker. Kendricks is a great linebacker. Harrison Smith is aging a little bit, but you can sell me on this defense being competent. Like I don't think they're going to be a top 5, but you can sell me on them being a mid pack, cause a few turnovers when you need to, get a stop when you need to. Nothing amazing, but certainly not like the reason you're losing football games. But offensively, Justin
3
Jefferson,
good receivers and a good back.
Agreed. And a great back. Delvin Cook, when he played last year, was outstanding. Their offensive line got better. Is it good? No. Is it similar to the defense? Is it competent? Yes. It's competent with an really good running back and really good wide receivers. Adam Thielen's an outstanding number 2, and Jefferson is in the elite category of receivers.
Best in the league.
If you're going to talk about Jamar Chase, he's almost underrated, I think, Justin Jefferson, for what he's done his first 2 years. So the other thing is they've got Detroit and the Bears behind them. I could see them sweeping them. Now, the Packers are a different story, but there's 4 wins up their sleeve straight away. You've only got to find 6 more wins, and they finish second in the division. They've probably got a chance to steal a couple. I don't know. I look holistically as a team. Are they? Can I sell you on them being good? Yeah, I can. I really can. I can see a world where they're good. Easily see them good. You know, we're talking about we can see a world where Detroit are good. This team's way more talented than Detroit. Way more. Yes. So, and I think if O'Connell, we know that offensive coordinators, they tend to have a good spark. They tend to have a good start to a season because they come in with new schemes and stuff like that, and they get some good success early when people don't have film on them. So they could get a good start to the season. So Kirk Cousins, people who don't like Kirk Cousins, I get it. He's a bit milquetoast, whatever you want to call him. He's not a game winner. He's not a grab a game by the throat sort of bloke. He's a bit awkward. You know, when he finally wins a game, he carries on in the locker room like he's won a Super Bowl. Like, he's a bit much. I can get why I don't like him, but there are plenty worse, and he is by far the least of your issues in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
If he's your biggest problem on your team's okay. That's my opinion of Kirk Cousins. He's the middle of the pack sort of guy. So I like him. I look. Are they going to be a playoff team? I don't know, because I think the NFC is going to be. It's going to be tight. I think there's 3 really good teams in the West. I think the Eagles and the Cowboys could both be good. I think Green Bay and the division are a lock-in for playoffs. I think the Bucks are. I don't know. Like, if the Saints bob up and be solid, yeah. Like, these are similar to the Saints, those sorts of teams. Like, can they be the 7th seed or the 6th seed? Yes, if a few things go their way.
Yeah, easily. I mean, I can find you 4 games last year that they just completely shit the bed on.
And they were early.
Mistakes, bad play.
That's why it's
classic thing, always early. And win those and we're in the playoffs. Now, equally, they had other games that they squeaked by that could be losses. Like, we could play that game all day. But there is more than enough offensive talent in that room. Like, easily enough. I mean, and I like KJ Osborne as well. The guy who's probably going to be their number 3 receiver. Real good slot guy.
Real good, like athletic tight end who came on a bit last year.
This is a team that was, for all practical purposes, ground and pound only 2 years ago. It's really since O'Connell came in that they started airing it out more last year. Delvin Cook is going to be a lot more involved in the passing game now. He has like full reign and can do whatever he wants. So it's going to be interesting. Like, yeah, I could see them having 13 wins, no problem.
Yep. Do they win the division? No, but I think they can be good.
I want them to. Well, sorry, I want anyone but Green Bay. I'm sorry. But well, let's talk about them. So, moving on to Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers got his extension. I fucking hate that guy now. He's a great football player, but all that bullshit last year with the COVID thing and all the rest, he thought he was so fucking clever when he was really just lying at the end of the day. You know what? If you want to get vaccinated, cool. But fucking own it. Don't bullshit us. Like, come on. If you, like, it's it's not so good against stopping COVID right now because, as you and I know, I'm triple vax and I got it 6 weeks ago. COVID's back with a vengeance. But all the lies, all the crap, all the acting like a malcontent, all those things, I'm sick of his stick. He's a gun. He's one of the best to ever play the position. They are the most talented team in the division. Even though the best wide receiver left, they've still got arguably the
top
best QB
3
in the
receivers
league.
left last year. St. Brown, the one that went to the Chiefs, whose name I've forgotten already. Lazard, sorry. No, Lazard's still there. I can't remember who the other one was. And Devontae Adams. Like, I think people are underselling losing Devontae Adams. I really think Sammy Watkins. Yep. So no, there's another.
Oh no, they re-signed him.
Hang on. Sammy Watkins is. It was
Devontae Adams, St. Brown, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yep, he's the take the top off guy. I think this is going to have to be a different style team, and I think they've got the piece. Everyone's saying who are their receivers? Who are their receivers? Before Deebo Samuel, who were the 49ers receivers? And is Deebo Samuel known for his receiving talent? He's known for versatility, doing things when he's in the open field, that sort of stuff. Yeah. He's not a genuine receiver. LaFleur is Shanahan's baby. He's doing the same things. You look what he's trying to set up. Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon. He wants 2 good running backs. And AJ Dillon was outstanding last year. He was really good as a backup running back. Very, very, very good, powerful. Their offensive line should be better this year with Bakaraki back. Bakhtiari back, sorry. I think they'll be solid along the offensive line. Robert Tonyan's back from injury, who was a really good tight end before he got hurt. They'll run that boot and scoot, have Rodgers motioning out, have Rodgers booting out, hitting guys on the run, handing it off to playmakers as much as possible. Guys like there will be plenty of formations next year with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon on the field at the same time. They're going to use them versus. I think that's what they're going to do on offense. And Aaron Rodgers can facilitate everything because he can make every throw and he can almost do everything you need. He's won 2 MVPs in a row. Yeah, he's been a fucking dick the last couple of years. He sold out like they were doing the wrong thing, getting rid of players, blah, 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 blah. Then he fucks off Devontae Adams, takes his money so they can't afford Devontae Adams and just lets Devontae Adams go. So it was all bullshit. He just wanted money. That was the bottom line. And fine, just be like that. Just say, no, I want more money. That's why I'm not coming to camp. I want more money. It's nothing to do with Randall Cobb and this and that. I want more money. He got it. Now, I think they can be a competent offense because he's running it. Simple as that. I don't think they will be anything outside of the top 10 offense because he's there. If they are, they're disastrous and the team's going to suck and it's time to rebuild. Simple as that. So Aaron Rodgers, he's hit the end of his tether and he's finished and his career's over. Simple. That's what will happen. Defensively, I like them. They've got their defensive backfield has got 1, 2, 3, 4 first-round picks who are all good. Drew Alexander is one of the best corners in the league. Devondre Campbell was an absolute shining star in their system last year. They've got Walker, the first-round pick out of Georgia. Kenny Clark on the D-line. Reed, who used to play for Seattle, who's a big interior D tackle. Gary, who absolutely came on last year, Rashawn Gary, a former top 15 pick in the draft, who was really good down the stretch and currently ranked the 5th best edge player for Pro Football Focus. And then they've got the other Smith, Preston Smith, on the other side, is he a superstar? No, but he's a solid, good starting edge rusher. I think that defense has the potential to be a top 10 defense. So I'm telling you, I think the worst their defense is going to be is top 15, and the worst their offense is going to be top 10. How many teams with a top 10 offense and a top 15 defense suck? The math doesn't add up in that division. They're a 13-14 win team. It's as simple as that. And Aaron Rodgers is a dick, but he's a fucking good football player, and it's just the facts. I can't find a world where they're crap. I just can't find it.
No, me either. It's one of the most slam dunk picks of the year. It's going to be one of the easiest ones. Just pencil them at the top, and
them and the Bucks in the NFC. Them and the Buccaneers in the NFC for me are just win. They just win the division. Simple as that. They're just going to be. Now, will they be the 1 seed? No, I don't know if they'll be the 1 seed or the 2 seed. The Packers. I think they might drop off a little bit. There might be some early jitters with the way they're changing. Like not having Devontae Adams to bail him out might be difficult. But Aaron Rodgers has played with out Devonta Adams before. He's played for a long time in the NFL. He's won 3 MVPs, a Super Bowl. He gets into the playoffs every year. Yeah, does he lose NFC Championship games? Yeah, but he gets them there every year. Like, if you can't sit there and look at Aaron Rodgers and go, he's one of the best quarterbacks ever, it's similar to people who don't enjoy the Tom Brady stuff. I feel sorry for you. Don't watch football because you don't enjoy it, because he's one of the best ever. Simple as that.
Yeah, no arguments. It's a bit of a jerk, and I want him to fall apart, but he's not.
We loved him 2 years ago.
Good. No question.
If I ever meet Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to go up to him. I'm not going to be an asshole. I'm just going to go, you know what? Me and Richie fucking loved you. We loved you, and we defended you when you wanted to. We said Green Bay will be in the dicks. They never draft anyone. They never do anything to help you. We thought we were on your side, and then you just.
We wanted him to leave.
You slapped us in the face. You slapped us so good. We wanted you in Denver, and you made us look like idiots. You know, like the chick that accused Reuben Foster that time, and I launched into Reuben Foster at him, much of a piece of shit he is. And then 2 days later, it's like, yeah, no, I was lying. I'm like, damn it, you really got. Thanks a lot. Like Aaron Rodgers, he Reuben Fostered us. Simple as that. And now I'm off him.
So if we look at the North as a whole, how do you pencil it in?
I think it's real. This is really easy. Green Bay, Minnesota. Like, fuck, I hope it's Detroit. But going off what the Minnesota and Detroit are somewhere around the same for me. They could be 7 wins. They could be 12 wins. Like, I don't know. Probably more Minnesota than Detroit. And then the Bears are at the bottom. Simple as that. So I go, Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, and the Bears. Now, if something changes at quarterback for the Detroit Lions, I could easily get them up to second. But as of right now, that's where they're at.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. As we said on everyone, we'll dig into the whole thing for the actual preview show. But that's certainly where I'm leaning as well.
Absolutely. That's it, mate. That's 2 divisions in a night.
Bang, bang.
We were going to do it as a separate podcast, but then when we're only at like 32 minutes or something when we got it, I was like, we may as well just do the NFC North now, give everyone just all in one episode. I'll put some tags into where the divisions start. But, mate, that was good fun. We will be back next week, normal time, Monday night like tonight. Thanks to our sponsors, Burnley Brewing and US Sports Gear. Thanks to all our Patreon supporters. I said there will be a helmet this month, obviously. I don't have it yet because I'm working on a bit of a deal. You know what I'm like? I'm always wheeling and dealing behind the scenes. So I won't announce what helmet it is next, but there is one which I'll do next week on the show. But waiting to see what it is first. So thank you to all our patrons. It goes a long way to helping the show. We really do appreciate you guys, along with our other sponsors. Richie, as always, thank you for being on the show. And I think next week will be the AFC North next week, which is your Brownies.
Yeah, not my Browns anymore.
You're off them now. You're off them.
It's all just gross. It's all just gross.
Yes, well, we'll do the AFC North next week. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.